I had heard that Jourdan had either moved up here or was moving up here and wanting to open a bar arcade. He was looking for a Tron. At the same time, I had just listed a Tron game for sale. So I picked up the phone and I was like, is this Jourdan? And he was like, how'd you know that? And I was like, just thought it might be you.
I've had an arcade game in my living room since the 90s. So it's just always been a part of just like growing up. And then I've been in the restaurant industry since I was 16. Moved back to Denver. There was nobody doing anything remotely close to an arcade bar in Colorado. And started the OneUp in March of 2011.
I think that a lot of businesses, when you first open, it takes time for people to start becoming regulars and stuff. I think that when we opened, it was a hit as soon as it started. I mean, we had people there excited. They couldn't believe we had these old games that were functioning. I remember hearing tons of people say, I haven't seen this game since the 70s, since the 80s. I remember growing up with this. And you know, you have to keep it real. We like tokens because when you have a token in your hand, I think it has more value. Think about this, okay? You don't really even use money anymore. You don't use quarters, you know, any of that kind of stuff. It's like a new experience for young people.
I think we take a little bit of a different approach than a lot of other operators. So I kind of look at volume as a more important factor than ROI on the game. So if you come into our location, you're going to find a buck hunter operating for a token to 2 tokens, meaning 25 cents, 50 cents, to where an operator at a sports bar or bowling alley needs that ROI on the game, you know, so much faster that you're finding those dollar treks, $2 treks. But I want to really give that value to the customer. We operate on a token, not a swipe card, and people think we're crazy, but there's something to the tangible cup of tokens that just adds to our concept. Instead of being like just lumped in with the FECs, people are like, no, I want to go to the OneUp because it's like that vintage arcade, you know, feel from the tokens to the price of the games.
But you know this business, right? This business is a bar and an arcade, so people coming in here to drink and to have fun at the same time. So it's like they're both equally as important. You know, the bar aspect of it's important and the game aspect of it's important.
It's a very symbiotic relationship. You know, our first location is garden level, it's downstairs, and I always refer to our original location as raiding your parents' liquor closet, going to the basement, and playing your favorite arcade games. I think if you look at our selection of booze, we're not like high mixology. We operate mostly out of cans. We sell 40 ounces of malt liquor. I mean, it is a very vintage bar feel. And then our specialty cocktails, you know, they're Red Bull drinks. They have a symbiotic relationship with arcade culture and, you know, what kids are doing at home as they're, you know, trying to stay up all night playing Call of Duty or whatever it is they do at home on Twitch, you know.
We get to make new cocktails, bring in new ideas. Jourdan gives us the ability to have like a lot of fun options for people. And we have a fun slush puppy machine. So we actually made a whole menu and it's all little puppies and they all have their name. And it's fun where we have one where it's a vanilla vodka and an orange, so it's like a creamsicle. Or the lime vodka with the cherry, so it's like a cherry limeade. Just have to remember not to drink it too fast.
I think the demographic of the arcade bar is ever changing. You know, when we started with 28 arcade games, 12 pinball machines, and for us 14 years ago, you know, that was Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Galaga, Centipede, Tron, you know, the staples. We didn't really realize, you know, it's an ever-changing group of bar patrons, 21 to 35. Forget about like what we are now, the old folks. You have kids that are brought up on a whole new realm of games that are now bar patrons. In a concept like ours at the OneUp, I think it's almost become expected. You want to see the newest, the best, in addition to like all of the cult classics. So we have titles, you know, from Minecraft to Mario Kart to Fast and the Furious, Jurassic Park, things that we never even thought we would operate. We have to constantly build into our concept to keep it fresh to the ever-evolving consumer.
Jourdan, he's really like into the culture too, so he knows what's cool, what's, you know, what's being played, what's not being played. I don't do it that much anymore, but in the beginning, I'd come and watch people play all night. to see what people are playing, see how people are playing it. Then I realized I was kind of creeping people out a little bit too, because I'm looking over people's shoulders playing games, and then they were feeling uncomfortable, so I kind of stopped doing that. Yeah.
You kind of see the trends. So Crossy Roads, when we first brought it in, I think people enjoyed it, but now the word is getting out there. So like people come in just to play Crossy Roads, and they'll sit there and the little crowd will gather around them, and people are like chanting and cheering. So that's cool to see it kind of blossom. I feel like most people are in it for the fun. It's the date nights, Tinder Tuesday, families, big groups, birthday parties, corporate events. This is Denver Tech Center, so we get tons of big parties. The people are like competing against each other, and it's like a fun banter compared to like real gamers and people are getting upset. I think people enjoy it and they want to spread the joy to everybody.
I think we've impacted Colorado and Denver so much that we've become part of like the Denver culture, really. Everybody knows about OneUp.
I think anybody can find a bunch of arcade games and put them in a room, but I think when you come into a OneUp location, when you start looking at the pop art behind the bar, to our mural work, to how we have our liquor brands incorporated into this thing, it's a full concept. And I think it adds a lot of legitimacy to what we're doing. And I think it allows the consumer to come in and be like, whoa, this is really a thing. And they're really into it. And I think it translates big picture wise to the success of the OneUp.
So yeah, there's a lot to it. You know, a lot of people think it's just, you just plug in the game and you're ready to go. It's not like that. I mean, we have 2-3 games a week at each location that fail for different reasons, you know. Somebody punched a joystick in. Yeah. Somebody dropped a full drink on the panel, you know. How do you prevent stuff like that?
So many people had come to John because John buys and sells games. He is the pulse of this arcade culture community. I was kind of shocked when we had the first Kong off. I really thought everybody was showing up to see Billy or see Steve or Hank. And people started coming up to me and they were like, hey, where's Exidy? And I'm like, you guys want to see the game tech? And they're like, no, he's the best.
Me having the background of being a collector and knowing how to fix the games, it's like a huge plus because we could put in whatever we want in here. A lot of places, for example, Dave & Buster's and stuff, they can't do that because their techs can't fix those old games. You know, when you have a new game and you just swap out a computer power supply and a computer, anybody could swap parts. But when you have to get a board and really work on it, that's a whole different story.
However we found each other, we found each other, and you know, our relationship, along with our director of operations, it's such a special and unique thing that the three of us share that really makes this thing happen.
Jourdan was so enthusiastic and so into the concept. I was like, I'm always drawn to people that are like enthusiastic about things. And I was like, hey, this might be a really cool adventure, a voyage or whatever. Let's do it. Let's see what happens. And yeah, that's it. That's all it took.
There's always been this little plan, you know, and when John saw it, he's like, I think this guy's really going to do it. And we really did it. But we still have the blueprint. I mean, we're, you know, looking to the fourth location and to look at a blueprint, to know where everything's going to go, and to get ready to do it and go all in. It's pretty crazy. We still use the same formula. It might not be 28 games and 12 pinball machines, but, you know, if it ain't broke.